So what that means is that there was a lot of people here before I got here. So I asked them about that. Because I mean, let's be fair here. This is commie country, honey. Covert communism. What does that mean? Is that there's a lot of scripted narratives going on. That means there's a lot of Willy Wonka and his flying monkeys, that is your League of Doom, pitching street theater and mobbing and such. Then you got the Peanut Gallery, augmenting the soundtrack by various, capuchin, which is a monkey, flying monkey antics, aimed at bullying you. You got a room full of bullies, that's what you have. But other than that, oh, and by the way, this is what you call crimes against humanity. All of that action is against the Geneva Convention. You should look that up and look up crimes against humanity. Gang stalking, which is your terrorism, which is your East German Stasi. Y'all should look that up. Infrastructure that they used to bully their own citizens. I mean, the bullying was so bad that if you decided to leave the country, they had to put a wall up. That was called the Berlin Wall. How many of you remember that? Yeah, that Berlin Wall wasn't there to keep people out, honey. It was to keep their maniacal subjects tortured so they couldn't leave, babies. And anybody getting their palms greased by this covert communism, that's blood money. That all makes you murderers. It's called psychological white glove holocaust. So their targets will commit suicide, and that's how they make their money. Organ harvesting and such. Ooh, you'd be surprised. And I know a thing or two. That's why you all are targeting me. Not that you would know that. So, back to my story of my EBT card. I know I'm in comic country. They all have their preconceived notions about a complete stranger they know nothing about. What they don't realize is that they're in bed with the same government that passed out them smallpox blankets to them Indians in the Trail of Tears. Well, that's the same government, hun. And they even import, bring in outsiders to elicit their
Kristen Gomez, counter number 10.
Their debauchery, to elicit their squatting of the liberties. You have forefathers that died, spilled their soil into the blood to have the liberty to say, I hate McDonald's, to have the liberty to be as dumb as you want, or to have the liberty to be as whatever kind of style you want,
Kristen Gomez,
to have the liberty to be called weird,
Kristen Gomez,
because you aren't like the rest of them, too worried about what other people think. If you worry about what other people think, that's how Willy Wonka keeps you under lock and key. And if you want to know who Willy Wonka is, consider Uncle Sam. Except Uncle Sam stood for actual liberties. What you got now is a psychopath that America is honoring. And guess what? He is the brainchild of Dr. Mengele of Auschwitz. You should gnaw on that one for a while. How many of you know what Auschwitz is? And if you don't, it's okay. I'm here to teach and share. And hopefully, you all will, do your own research and teach and share with others. Because this covert communism, You're helping the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, by the way. And if you expect a psychopath to take care of you, oh boy, they're gonna like you to stay a somnambulist that way. What is somnambulism? Sleepwalking. Willy Wonka prefers his covert commies to be somnambulist babies. So, what you have here is covert communism working over the targeted individual that they're really the mobsters that said she's a witch, and everybody said, "Oh, let's kill that one. She deserves all of our angst, but don't talk to her. Don't get her side of anything." That's what makes it psychotic. Because in this country, what your forefathers died for was the liberty to have innocent until proven guilty. Otherwise, what you guys are doing is just one big circle jerk fest, massaging everybody's egos to judge others you have no business judging. But Willy Wonka, he's got you all wrapped up in his little finger. All he has to do is just throw money at you and find your price and get you to compensate who you once believed you were. You think you're ethical and you're participating in this goddamn League of Doom? You're duped. And even more than that, you're going to hell. You don't want that. Trust me. And even if there wasn't a hell, guess what? You have hellish dimensions. The trick here is to leave with your soul intact.
David Tillman, Windows
And what that
7.
means is that whenever your
David
avatar, your
Tillman,
body
Windows
gives out,
7, please.
you want to make sure that your spirit can be free and happy to go on to do the next great thing. But if you buy into this covert communism, what happens is that you're lowering your vibratory frequency of your entire being, because there is light, there is dark, there's ethical, there's unethical. And whatever you're vibing at, if you happen to die all of a sudden, that's where you end up at. So if you're participating in this covert communism, you are participating in a concentration camp. You consider the concentration camp without walls, because guess what? There ain't no goddamn Berlin Wall big enough to be able to contain this infestation. It's worldwide. You can leave this country, that state, and plant your happy ass somewhere else, and that covert communism will
Joseph Dobbs, counter
still be
number
there.
10.
Why? Well, because those people had a price and they became sellouts. What, did you get a new car? Make $500,000 a year, sticking it to a targeted individual you know nothing about, that you pass judgment on, all because some good-looking dude wearing a suit brought you some box of smallpox blankets to hand out to everybody. That is what's happening here, honeys. I mean, no shade on all you guys participating in it. There is shade to continue it. Because I honestly believe y'all were good people that got tricked into behaving as the psychotic flying monkey. But what happens here on out, that's what matters. All you gotta do is quit the concentration camp. Remain ethical and hold yourself to moral aptitude. Because it's not just what you see. You tapped into a whole other energy of filth that's been long going. The same filth that ran the Auschwitz camp, the concentration camps. His name is Dr. Mengele. That makes you his prodigy. Everybody participating, getting their little palms greased from Willy Wonka's crazy psychotic games. you're tapping into the same energy that built all those concentration camps, honey, and everything surrounding it. Except nowadays, you got it all amped up with technology. How fun is that? Oh boy. And if you don't know what kind of tech is out there, I hate to say this, but you could seriously be fucked. And just because you're not a targeted individual today doesn't mean you won't be one, or your kids be one. When each of you had the power to keep that infestation from growing. All you gotta do is educate yourself and your family and quit the concentration cog. That's all. Ghost those assholes, honey. Or not. Willy Wonka, he's going to demand your loyalty so he can indoctrinate your children. And then what you did was squat on the liberties of their future and leave the generational curse by getting them indoctrinated to become the psychotic psychopath. What kind of civilization do you think will be born of that? So at any rate, LiTTLe from Houston, Texas, in the great DHS,
Jeremy Williams, counter number 10.
Neverett,
Jeremy
Washington.
Williams, counter number 10.
I'm hungry, guys. They're holding up my EBT card with their own little loophole. It's pending. Yeah. Then why is it a lot harder to get a reinstatement than an initial activation? Because supposedly the holdup is the supervisor has to go over the paperwork to make sure it's done. Well, if it's taking this long for somebody to check it off, the supervisor is slow as fuck. Maybe not even right. I mean, after all, this is a big brother country. Commie country, huh? Their minions, their regime, not too smart. And their regime is worse than a Manchurian candidate. And I'll tell you why. A Manchurian candidate is triggered by a trigger, and their brain goes out, and they become a murderer, and then they're triggered again, and their brain turns off and back into the reality. That's the concept of a Manchurian candidate. But with these flying monkey covert communist regimes, there is no trigger. They just sell out their soul that way and their ethics. You know, in this day and age, after the pandemic, I have a lot of respect for prostitutes and sex workers. That's an honest living. Straight cash for services. But all the covert communists, I'm sorry guys, y'all are new prostitutes of the world. Because you're hoeing out your ethics. Not only that, if you got children, you're hoeing out your future generations. Y'all are the new prostitutes, babies. Anyways, you are encouraged to leave your concentration camp gig. And if you want to make millions, write your own tell-all book. Gang Stalker Gone Straight. And hit me up. I'll collab with you. But, you know, the early bird does get the worm. Just saying, you just gotta have some kahunas. Not the ones that psychopaths outfitted you with. Anyhow, hopefully you all will do your own education. And hopefully you're an independent and critical thinker. And hopefully Willy Wonka doesn't tell you what to think and how to feel. Because if he does, you'll be the first one on his roasting plate. America's psychopaths, man. They have no moral compunction. All they care about is a good time at anybody's expense. Because do thieves really have honor among thieves? Good luck with that.